Hey, what's up guys, Old 7 here. I want to go over a couple things in 5.3. One is dual wield versus the two-hand weapon. Now in 5.2, the dual wield was out DPSing your two-handed weapon by about 10 to 15k per second. That's changed in 5.3 primarily because the resilience cap is now at 65%. So the PvP power is greater than resilience because the damage overshadows the resilience now. So I think that's why Blizzard did this. They want to see the PvP competition more offensive than defensive. Whereas last patch in 5.2, everybody was stacking resilience 67 to 68% for survivability over damage, because of course you can do more damage alive than you can dead. So that's why we're having a lot of resilient stackers. Well, in this patch, resilience of 65% is good enough. If you stack any more than 65% as DPS, you're losing your power, and the other team is going to overpower your resilience. Well, that's kind of what I have experienced in RBGs and arenas and whatnot. So given that, let's go ahead and look at how I'm gemmed and how I'm reforged. Now, reforging aside, I'm going to go ahead and talk about reforging in a moment. The way I'm gemmed is the 25,000 conquest and above gives you that meta gem with 665 PvP power, 775 resilience. That's the only resilience buff that I have spec'd into my build. Now you're going to see that the strength, your main stat priority, is going to be above the PvP power. So wherever you can fit in your main stat, as a death knight, it's going to be strength. You fit that in because it is greater than the PvP power. So there is my helm gemmed. As we move down, you'll see again strength. And the reason I'll explain mastery in a moment, as well as my reforge. All right, and then you have more strength and mastery. And then in my wrist guards, there you see PvP power moving into play. And again, there's some more blue gems, and some more blue gems, and some more blue gems, with the main stat being strength again. And the same goes for my boots. Now you're going to notice a PvE trinket here. This is pretty much what a lot of the Rank 1 players are using, is this PvE trinket for obvious reasons. You can see that my chances have to get me 9400 strength for 15 seconds. Now in PvP that goes down to about 6,000 strength for 15 seconds. Now that stacked with this trinket is pretty good. Now I'm still messing around with this trinket and this one. Which one is dealing more damage for me? So I have a chance of going 10,000 more strength with glyphing this trinket and this trinket, but I can control the 2,000 strength with this when I stack it on my Pillar of Frost. So I'm still playing around with this. I'm probably going to go with this gem or this trinket over the other one, but like I said, I'm playing around with it. Now the stat priority for me is going to be obviously it's going to be strength, then it's going to be mastery, or I'm sorry, strength, PvP power, mastery, crit strike. Now I'm reforging into mastery and crit strike and then haste for a couple of reasons. Number one, as a frost DK, your mastery is going to come into play with your frost strike. Now it doesn't, and howling blast, it doesn't really mess with your obliterate at all. So that's why a lot of DKs are using haste over mastery. So they're either going haste, crit, then mastery, is a lot of two-handed DKs are going with. Now the reason why I'm going with mastery over haste is because of this skill right here. When I two-handed is the runic corruption, where it gives me a chance to go 100% of runic generate. Now that stacks, so I can dump 2 or 3 frost strikes in, and I could get to about 5 or 6 seconds of haste for 100% haste. Now that makes up for the haste of reforging into haste. Now during that time that runic corruption is in play, and when it does go ahead and proc, that's usually when my frost machines proc as well, because you're swinging that many more times with your two-handed weapon. But I'm doing dual wield right now to kind of start off showing you the DPS as the dual wield and two-hander. So that's kind of a rundown of how I'm gemmed, how I'm reforged, and what I'm using. So let's go ahead and start off this two-hand or this dual wield burst to see what we have going on. Alright, make sure that my meter is reset, make sure I'm on the right skill bar, and again make sure that I have my two-handers equipped. I think we are ready to go. Now my macro for my burst with dual wield is a little bit different than two-hander, so I want to remove Outbreak and replace that with Horn of Winter because the global cooldown doesn't affect the dual wield. This also ensures me that I always have Horn of Winter up. Is that what it's called? I can't remember if that's what it's called. My brain fogs every now and again. Yeah, Horn of Winter. Okay, there we go. I'm just double checking. Never know. I'm kind of, of course, that brain injury is my excuse for everything. Alright, Horn of Winter we got rolling. Here comes the burst for dual wield. Let's see what we got here. Now keep it on your DPS meters over here. And here goes the Howling Blast spam, followed by the Plague Strikes. Then here comes the procs. See here, it's already procking up. Now I have enough blood tap to start spamming some more. And we're going to dump some more. I'm at 100. I saw in the corner of my eye 115k DPS right there. That's not pretty. That's not bad, given I'm face front on this Raiders training dummy. Now I'm going to try to go for about a minute or so, perhaps, until my Pillar of Frost recharges, and that's when I'll stop. Actually, I'll stop about 10 seconds till it recharges. That way my my dots have a chance to wear off. Alright, we're going to stop right there for a moment. I'll stop attacking. Let's let these dots have a chance to clear out. Now, I wasn't paying a whole lot of careful attention to my DPS meter, but I think I saw it around 115k DPS at the peak, and I'm thinking off the top of my head is this sustained DPS was high 80s, low 90s, until of course I'm stopping the attack and let the dots wear off. Okay, the dots have worn off now and I'm fully recharged. Now make sure you remember 115k at sustained high 80s, low 90s. That's dual wield. Now in 5.2 dual wield was higher than two-handed, but let's take a look at the two-handed now. I'm going to make a few changes. Number one, I'm going to change to my two-hander. Now notice this is the elite tier 2 weapon. That means nothing in this season at the current point because it's just cosmetic, and the elite after season 13 looks cool. It's about as far as it goes, and of course I have a transmog. I don't like to look at the huge sword over the tiny little body. But anyway, let's go ahead and equip that. And now I need to change my skill bar from dual wield to two-hander. And there we go. Obliterate's in here. Nothing else changes outside of my talents. I'm going to go from Blood Tap to Runic Corruption. And that's pretty much going to be the only change. And I need to go back to my macro and change out Horn of Winter to Outbreak. And I'm going to do this for a couple of reasons, and I'll explain in a moment. Now the reason why I want to do that is I'm going to start off with my burst. The Outbreak automatically puts dots up, so I don't have to cast Plague Strike or use an Unholy Blight just yet to get the burst. So it really saves me a rune and saves me Unholy Blight. Alright, let's go ahead and clear my DPS charge. Now just to take note, here's my overall damage. 4.6 million is the overall damage for about, I would say, 50 seconds of attack, and the rest is letting the dots clear off. Okay, so let's reset the damage. Let's check the DPS meter. Alright, everything appears to be right. There's no buffs on. Let's go ahead, and here's the problem with this. You always have to cast Horn of Winter, so in my mind, whenever I see Pillar of Frost pop up over here that I can cast it, it lets me know that I need to also cast Horn of Winter. You don't have to because it's 5 minutes, so I can actually go through 5 of those, but I try to keep Horn of Winter up all the time. Alright, there's Horn of Winter. We'll start off with the burst. I'm going to dump all of my obliterates, procced or not, and then I'll go ahead and drop my runic power, and then I'll be really selective on my obliterates. So let's go ahead and fire this up. Okay, there's some obliterates already proccing. Alright, I'm going to dump my runic power now. Alright, now time to dump my obliterates again. I already did one. There's another one coming here. 118 is what I saw in the corner of my eye. 122 now. So you can see we're already past dual wield. Now we'll see this, sustained damage. Alright, here comes some more obliterates, more dumping the runic power. More obliterates. Now I got the rhyme that just procced. Alright, so now we're having to wait for runes to charge, which is fine. Alright, now I have this left over. That's alright, we'll go ahead and sit on that rune for a moment. So you have to wait for your runes to recharge. It's the only thing I don't like, but I'm willing to take that since the bursts are pretty hardcore. Alright, and we're going to stop there and let the dots kind of undercharge. Now notice that the peak that I saw was about 125. Now I've done up to 130k DPS, and I've seen the sustained damage in between 100 to 110. And I did in the corner of my eye see it drop down to 88 DPS, 88k DPS. Usually I'm sitting in between 90 and 100 sustained DPS. I don't know why I was a little bit lower on this run, but whatever. So there is the two-hander versus dual wield. So I'll only conclude with this. Given the way I'm set up right now, two-hander, with the way I'm spec'd, is doing much more damage than dual wield for this patch. And again, because we're stacking PvP power over resilience, and I'm able to stack more strength into my gems, as opposed to last season it was strength and PvP resilience. So there it is, guys. There is your two-hander versus dual wield in 5.3. Two-hander is better.